Barakatah Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Ruach HaKodesh. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is, If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. And that pretty much is a title taken from the book of St. John, the 5th chapter. I was looking for a lesson for this particular, or a name for this particular lesson. And shalom to the elders and Akim, sincere brothers and the sincere sisters. CGMS Chicago on air live is on. Yeah, I was watching your video last night. Elder Pastor did a little short video. I actually happened to click on your video. I was watching a little bit of it, and then Elder Pastor, maybe not too long after that, he did a video, and he put you brothers' video, that y'all were live. So I went back again and I checked it out because I was watching, different videos. Brothers were going in. But like I said, the name of the title is inspired by this particular lesson of a chapter I was reading earlier in the book of Luke. And I wanted to get into it because I thought it was very interesting. And in these times that we're in right now, but at least to me, just a little joke, inside joke. There's, we're approaching, even though we're saying that we're putting our congregation in fear, and that we're making it seem like we're just gonna waltz into the kingdom and there's not gonna be any hardships. That shit is amazing to me, man. All these years we've been warning through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai of these hard times that are coming, but now we're being accused that we're putting brothers to sleep, that we're making them weak, and we're making them think that things are going to be easy and it's going to be a waltz in the park to go into the kingdom. It's like, wow. I mean, the level of deception, that's going on from Esau and from these black Esau's, among these different camps. And it's, I think it would be beneficial for brothers and sisters out there to start getting into the gospels and especially the parts where it led up to Yahushua's crucifixion, because you have to remember that was his hour of temptation, and he was going through a lot of things. Now in this lesson, Lord's will, we're going to cover, the lead up to the crucifixion, and the things that were happening when they came and grabbed him up, and the false accusations that were being brought against the Lord, just like they're being brought up right now against us. And hopefully we are, the elect. We're still hoping and praying, although all the signs are there, but we're still hoping and praying, and leaving it in the hands of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And, just the blatant denial and push away that Jake was doing to Yahushai, casting away their salvation, for, just to keep their status in this world 2,000 years ago, and it's going on right now also. So what I want to do is get into Luke, the 23rd chapter. There was some, you know how when you're reading or when you're meditating on things, like different precepts and different things come into mind. So Lord's will, to be an edifying lesson and everything will come out, the way it was rolling in my head earlier. I think it would be beneficial, especially in these times, and just to show you how you're going to have a lot of people that's going to lean upon men as their saviors more than Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So Luke 23:1, we're just going to go right into it. It says, and a whole multitude of them arose and led him unto Pilate. And this was after they grabbed Yahushua up after Judas Iscariot betrayed him. And what they did was they brought him to Pontius Pilate, which was the governor of Judea at the time, because although they had a law to put anyone to death that broke the law, even though they concocted all these lies and deceptions against Yahushua, they still didn't have the authority to put anyone to death unless they got the go-ahead from the Roman Empire. You see, because they were under the 2,000-year-old 501c3 charter back then. You see, they couldn't move unless the Roman Empire gave them authority to do so. This is what happens when you have your place among the Romans. The Romans will come and take our place. So the ancient 501c3, document, or whatever you want to call it, they had it back then too. It says, and they began to accuse him, saying, we found this fellow perverting the nation and forbidding to give tribute to Caesar, saying that he himself is the Messiah, a king. So this is the accusation they brought against him. All right. And in law, when you have an accused, he has the right to be confronted by his accusers and to be heard, and this is where the whole, court thing and the jury and all of that, the judge hearing both sides, blase, blase. And Pilate asked him, saying, art thou the king of the Jews? And he answered him and said, thou sayest it. Then, because, there was a lot more that went on in the conversation, but in different gospels, it some of them go more in depth and others are just brief. And in the case of Luke, this particular point, it was brief. Then said Pilate to the chief priests and to the people, I find no fault in this man. So he was really guiltless, which he was. And this heathen, he knew. And his wife knew. She said, you better not have nothing to do with this just man, for I suffered many things in a dream because of him. But still in all, they still crucified the Lord because it was prophesied. So it says, and they were the more fierce. So here it is. He's telling them, look, and they know that he's innocent, but they just wanted him to be put to death for no reason at all, saying, he stirreth up the people, teaching throughout all Jewry, beginning from Galilee to this place. So when Pontius Pilate found out that he was from Galilee, this is what he said. When Pilate heard of Galilee, he asked whether the man were a Galilean. And as soon as he knew that he belonged unto Herod's jurisdiction. See, one thing about law is you cannot proceed, in a righteous society. Technically in the law it is too, but these devils don't uphold their own laws. In a righteous society, the only way you can be persecuted in the court of law is if that particular court of law has jurisdiction over you. That's why if you're from another country, what they do is I believe it's called extradition. They extradite you out of this country into the other country to get your sentence, punishment or whatever the case may be. That's why that dude, what's that dude's name with the white hair now? Not Edward Snowden, the other one, Julian Assange. That's why he's bouncing from country to country, and they're trying to bring him to the I think it's to the U.S. I believe it's to the U.S. to receive, punishment, because those other nations don't really have jurisdiction over him for these particular crimes. So this is why Pilate sent, Yahushua to Herod, so Herod can hear Yahushua and judge him, right? So let's look up this word jurisdiction. Let's see what it says. jurisdiction. Exousia. It says power of choice, liberty of doing as one pleases, leave or permission, physical and mental power, the ability of strength with which one is endued, which he either possesses or exercises. Right. And in order for you to exercise jurisdiction, you have to have the power and authority. This is why the 14th Amendment was created, and this is why it speaks about those that are under the jurisdiction, that, let me see, I can't think of it exactly. 14th, I think it's 2 M's. Oh no, it is 1 M. Okay. Here we go. It says, let me see if I can make this a little bigger. It says all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof, see, are citizens of the United States and of the states wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States. Nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. And this is what the 14th Amendment did, because the 13th Amendment made voluntary slaves, which the voluntary slaves was what? You can't make somebody a slave unless they commit some type of criminal act. And that's why they set it up to where Jake, for any little thing, was hit up with all different type of charges so that they can be made slaves again, just like they were in the South. I believe that I'm not sure if it's called the 13th Amendment. There's a documentary out on it. And this is how these devils got around the so-called Emancipation Proclamation and was able to put Jake back into slavery. Those sharecroppers was nothing more than Jake in slavery working for free again, under the pretense of being free. But, that goes into a whole nother. So that's what the word jurisdiction is: the power of authority, influence, and of right privilege. So now when Yahushua is sent to Herod, it says, and as soon as he knew that he belonged unto Herod's jurisdiction, he sent him to Herod, who himself also was at Jerusalem at that time. And remember, Herod was an Edomite that was calling himself an Israelite, a Jew, because his fathers, all the way back to Antipater, and the Edomites back then during the time of John Hyrcanus I, were forcibly converted to keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. Therefore, that's why they were calling themselves Jews, which they were not. So this is what it says. It says, and when Herod saw Yahushua, he was exceeding glad, for he was desirous to see him of a long season, because he had heard many things of him, and he hoped to have seen some miracle done by him. Because remember, there was a big thing out there. His father, either his father or his father, which was Herod the Great, he had set up a persecution against the children, the male children from 2 years and under, because the wise men came and they told him, look, the Messiah is going to be born, the king is going to be born of Israel. We have seen his star. And he got nervous. Herod the Great got nervous, and so did the Israelites that were with him, those Sambos. And he told the wise men, look, when you find out where he's at, let me know, come back and tell me so I can go worship him too. But it was BS. He wanted to kill him to get rid of the heir, because if you know anything about Herod, Herod was a madman. And he killed all of the heirs of the Hasmonean line, including his own wife, Miriam. When you do the research, anyone that came in the way of him and his children sitting on the throne, he was getting rid of them. He was penoid. He said then, and then, you know, and then when after that whole situation happened, 2 years later, because the when they went to go see him, Yahushua, meaning the wise men, they were going to come and report it back to Herod, because they had no clue that Herod was going to try to kill the child, you know, Yahushua. But what happened was the angel appeared to them in a dream and said, nah, don't go to that devil, because, you know, so and so and so and so. And they didn't go. So 2 years passed, because Herod waited 2 years before he actually acted on this situation. So what he did was he sent, and these wicked Pharisees and them, they should have known this history. 2 years later, Herod sent to kill all of the children in that region, you know, in Bethlehem, in that area where Yahushua was born. You know, they should have known that history. And that's what, and the majority of the children that were killed were Benjaminites, sons of Rachel. That's what in the prophecy states that, you know, let Rachel weep for her children because they are not. You know? So going on, so this is the man that wanted to see Yahushua because he heard of the miracles, and he was hoping that Yahushua would do miracles in front of him. Now keep in mind, he's an Edomite that's calling himself a Jew. Then he questioned with them many words. So he's asking all kind of questions, and, you know, he's trying to get Yahushua to, you know, to say something. And Yahushua said, but he answered him nothing. He didn't say a word to him. This is why later on, I'm not sure if this is the same Herod, where they said, look, Herod's looking for you. He said, tell that fox that I'll be doing miracles here and there, you know, on the third day I'll be raised, or something like that, he said. All right. It says, and the chief, so he didn't answer him nothing, because this truth is not for the Edomites. It's not for the nations. Yahushua made that clear to his disciples. Go not to the way of the Gentiles, and enter any city of the Samaritans, enter ye not, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. These other nations have no part in this. They never did, never will. Even in the kingdom of heaven, they're not going to have a part of this. They're gonna have to keep the laws, of course. They're going to, you know, be blessed for keeping the laws. They'll be punished if they don't. But ultimately, they're not going to have any inheritance with us. They're going to be subject to the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, because they will be our servants. Just like when we were servants under them, we were subject to their laws. So they're going to have to be subject to our laws. And that's as far as it goes. They'll get their blessings, you know, they'll get their freedoms among themselves. They'll still be tributary. But at the end of the day, they're not going to be partakers with us at all, because they're not heirs with us. They never were, and they never will be. It says, and the chief priests and scribes stood and vehemently accused him. See, because he didn't say a word. So they saw another opportunity, because the scriptures say that Yahushua would be brought before his accusers as a lamb that was dumb before her shearers, or before his shearers. And Herod with his men of war set him at naught, see, and mocked him. So when you're mocking somebody, pretty much you're saying that this person is nothing. And that's what they do to the prophet. That they did that to Yahushua. Yahushua said they did it to me, they're going to do it to you. You set a man at naught. Oh, this guy is insignificant. He's a bummerite. And that's what they did to Yahushua. Now you got to remember, this is after the real heavy spirit that Yahushua had on him. He was very sorrowful at this time. You know? And that whole time when he was praying to the Father, he was breaking down, crying. You know, he was coming apart a little bit to show his human side, to show that he was human. And that was really written for us. And after that, the angels came and ministered unto him. Then after that, when he knew that the Father wasn't going to answer him, you know, to make it, you know, to take that cup from him, then he just girded up his loins and went and did what he had to do. And this is what he was facing. He was facing charges of insurrection, treason, and all of that, because those charges were punishable by death. Insurrection, murder, things of that nature. And in the case of the Lord, it would be, treason. And arrayed him in a gorgeous robe and send him again to Pilate. So they mocked him, they ridiculed him. Now this is an Edomite. And why did Yahushua spoke to Pontius Pilate, even though Pontius Pilate was an Edomite? He didn't say a goddamn word to Herod, because he already knew the history of how his father did what he did, and how this dude was nothing but a demon. At least Pontius Pilate was wise enough to see that, this man is innocent. And there's another precept that said, the Lord's will we'll get to, that it said that he knew that for reason of envy, they delivered him to him. Because what happened was the influence of Yahushua was so powerful that they wanted to remove that out the way, because he was taking their influence away from them. I'm talking about the wicked Pharisees and Sadducees in them. He had a very strong presence, a very strong influence. And they didn't like that. They wanted to keep control, and they were losing control. So it says, and the same day Pilate and Herod were made friends together, for before they were at enmity between themselves. And Pilate, when he had called together the chief priests and the rulers and the people, said unto them, You have brought this man unto me, as one that perverteth the people. And behold, I, having examined him before you, have found no fault in this man, touching those things whereof you accuse him. Right, because that is you have the accuser, you have the accused, you have the charges. The job of the judge is to question the accused of these charges, to see if he really committed these things. It's the job of the accuser to figure out a way to make the charges stick, but it's the job of the judge to be able to find out who's telling the truth and who's not. It's a very simple method. And after this careful examination, he said, "Nah, this man is innocent." No, not yet, nor yet Herod, right? Because Herod couldn't find nothing. Why? Because Yahushua didn't say a word to him. For I sent you to him, and lo, nothing worthy of death is done unto him. See? I will therefore chastise him and release him. So he was ready to release him. For of necessity he must release one unto them at the feast. Now this is where it gets hairy. Inside joke. It says, and they cried out all at once, saying, Away with this man, and release unto us Barabbas. Now when we go through the different precepts, Lord's will, we can do it. Barabbas was, he committed insurrections. He committed murder, and he was also a thief. Pretty much what Barabbas was, he was running with gangs of other Israelites and causing havoc. And he was in prison because of these things. He was a seditious individual against the Roman Empire. He was he murdered somebody. He was a thief. And he was seditious. He was not a very good individual. But now what I found interesting doing some research, because I was trying to find, the exact precepts, to prove those things that, because some scriptures say he was just a murderer. Some say he was an insurrection. And I knew there was one that said he was a thief. So I had to find it. So when I typed it in, what I found, which I never really looked up, which is pretty heavy, is the actual name Barabbas and what it means. It's a compound word. Bar Abbas, which is son of a father, or son of the father. All right? Now keep that in mind. Son of Abba, son of the father. All right? That's heavy, because in a sense, he is known as the Son of the Father, but so is Yahushai. All right? Keep that in mind. So it says, and they cried out all at once, saying, away with this man and release unto us Barabbas. So they wanted this murderous, seditious thief to be released unto them as their savior, pretty much. Because he was one that was trying to free Israel from the Roman Empire. Right? It says, who for a certain sedition made in the city and for murder was cast into prison. Now, when we read St. John 18, let's start at 38. Pilate saith unto him, what is truth? And when he had said this, he went out again unto the Jews and saith unto them, I find in him no fault at all. But you have a custom, and this custom that they had was not a custom biblically. This was a Babylonian custom. Got a roughneck, gotta have a roughneck. That's right. MC Light, that's right. Now, this custom that they had was not a custom of Israel. You ain't going to find a custom. You ain't going to go to the law and say, and thus, when you have two prisoners and it comes time for the Passover, you will martyr one or you will put one to death and you will let the other one go. No, this is a Babylonian custom. Now, I don't think they're going to go into that. But let me just see what it says for custom. Sunathia. Intercourse with one, intimacy, custom, a being used to a custom. Right, it's just a custom. They don't really go into the history. But when you go into the history is the Babylonian custom. And that's exactly how they used to do it. But you have a custom that I should release unto you one at the Passover. Will you therefore that I release unto you the King of the Jews? Then cried they all again, saying, not this man, but Barabbas. Now Barabbas was a robber. See? So he was a robber, he was seditious, and he was also a murderer, which we just read in Luke, that he was in there for sedition and for murder. And his name was Barabbas, son of the Father. Yahushua is also the son of the Father. But he's the son of the Father, meaning the Most High, Yahweh. And Barabbas is the son of the Father, Satan. All right? And this is why this is written, St. John 5. We're going to start at 41. I received not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of the Most High in you. I am come in my Father's name, because he is the Son of the Most High, and you receive me not. This he told them prior to his crucifixion. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. Not this man, but Barabbas. And it's not a coincidence that Barabbas' name was son of the Father, Barabbas. Just like Yahushua is the son of the Father. Now check this out. St. John 8:37. Matter of fact, before I read that, how can you believe which receive honor one of another, and seek not the honor that cometh from the Most High only? This is why they chose Barabbas, and they didn't choose Yahushua, because their whole life revolved around the praise of men. The greater the praise, the more zealous they were. You know? Because once that praise is gone, their zeal starts to dwindle. So they need that constant, flattering, that constant, power to continue on. And that's how they were. Do not think that I will accuse you to the Father. There is one that accuseth you, even Moses, in whom you trust. For had you believed Moses, you would have believed me. For he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how shall you believe my words? So going to St. John 8:37, it says, I know that you are Abraham's seed. And this is Yahushua speaking to them wicked Pharisees and Sadducees, pretty much cursing them out. But you seek to kill me because my word has no place in you. This is why they chose Barabbas and they didn't choose Yahushua. They chose son of the father, which is heavy because it's son of the father of Satan. And that's when I found out that that's what his name meant, which I should have known, because if you look at the name, but I never really thought about it. That's the first thing that came to mind, St. John 8. You have your father, the devil. And then I did a little research where I found out something else, which we're going to get to, which I wish I would have kept going, but, hey, this is all spiritual. Not a chance. Are you the one that made the Paleo Hebrew YouTube channel guide? There's a channel called I think it's GMS Lashawan Kodash, where it goes into the Hebrew and all of that, the Paleo Hebrew. But I'm not sure what you mean. If you post it on here, I'll check it out. I don't know what you mean, though. So check this out. You seek to kill me, but you seek to kill me because my word have no place in you. Okay? Now, when I was doing, when like I said, when I read the name of Barabbas and what it meant, immediately I thought about year of your father, the devil. And when I went to do some more research trying to find something else, which I found something else which is kind of heavy, they also echoed the same sentiment, of John 8. So I was like, I see. And then, but then, they started going off. So I was going to bring that info out, but I said, nah, the dude was on, but then he went left. And he went hard left. I'm talking about not just like a 90-degree left. He went back up like 45 degrees. He just if he would have made that move on the streets, he would have wrecked his car. Put it to you like that. He was going 90 miles an hour and he made a hard left. All right, so let's get to it. So let's read it here, and we're going to get back to St. John 8. Matthew 27:15. Now at the feast, the governor was wont to release unto the people a prisoner whom they would, which we just read about that. And they had then a notable prisoner called Barabbas, which we just read and found out what his name means. Therefore, when they were gathered together, Pilate said unto them, Whom will ye that I release unto you, Barabbas or Yahushua, which is called the Messiah? All right. Now, check this out. Let me see. Yes, that's it, sir. Very excited to see you're still active. The notebook's out. Praise be to Yah. Hey, Barakatah Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. But you got to throw in Yahushua's name in there also, brother. It's not just Yahweh. We can't get to Yahweh without Yahushua. It's Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. But hey, all praises to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua for allowing us to put those lessons together. Let me see. The elder put defunct, no longer living, existing, or functioning at defunct. Oh, okay. Hey, you might have to change that name. Yep, that's right. You see, the elder put the same thing. It's Yahweh Bashem Yahushua at defunct. Yep. All right, so now let's check this out again. Therefore, when they were gathered together, Pilate said unto them, Whom are ye that I release unto you, Barabbas or Yahushua, which is called the Messiah? Now, when I was doing some of the research, they actually also called Barabbas so-called Jesus, Yahushua. Now, it appears in a couple of translations. It's in the NIV. So when the crowd had gathered, Pilate asked them, Which one do you want me to release to you? Jesus Barabbas or Yahushua, who is called the Messiah? See? When we jump down to the net, So after they had assembled, Pilate said to them, "Whom do ye want me to release for you, Jesus Barabbas or Yahushua, who is called the Anointed?" And the point is, I wish I would have read this first before I actually went to this other precept. But the point is, if another come in his own name, him you will receive. So Barabbas, being named son of the Father, pretty much was the savior that they chose. And they threw away, Yahushua, the actual Prince of Peace. Hey, well, see, the brother, he came very humble. He said, "I appreciate those corrections. Thank you both. Please excuse my ignorance." And it's all right, brother. It's all about acknowledgement. Just keep on learning. That's all we could say. Just keep on learning. Because you don't want the rebukinator to get on you. It's just an inside joke. I'm just messing with you, Elder Manat Zakbar. All right, so now that we got through that, so they pretty much, Barabbas was like a Messiah type, because Jake was looking for relief from the Roman government, So they chose him instead of Yahushua. All right. So we found out he was seditious. He was a murderer. He was a robber. I don't know if we're going to get to this one. This is in the book of Mark. It's the same story. Okay, we went through that. So now let's go to St. John chapter 8 and verse 37 again. "I know that you are Abraham's seed, but you seek to kill me because my word have no place in you. I speak that which I have seen with my father, and you do that which you have seen with your father." Then answered and said unto Talakia, they answered and said unto him, "Abraham is our father." Yahushua saith unto them, "If you were Abraham's children, you would do the works of Abraham." And what were the works of Abraham? Faith. Abraham would have believed in Yahushua. You see? It says, "But now you seek to kill me, a man that have told you the truth." Because truth is too pure. And when you tell truth, there's emotions that get involved. And even when you're doing the right thing and somebody tell you the truth about something, you still get like a little, because truth is hard hitting, man. It's just straightforward. There's no way around it. It's rude in today's terms, especially in the Western world. Beautiful. Oh man, see, now the brother came through in the clutch. Romans 4:3, "For what saith the scripture? Abraham believed the Most High, and it was counted unto him for righteousness." And that's why he said, if you had believed, he said in St. John 5, "If you had believed Moses, you would have believed me also. And if you were Abraham's children, you would have done the works of Abraham." It says, "But now you seek to kill me, a man that have told you the truth, which I have heard of the Most High. This did not Abraham." See? Yep, like the brother put here, Galatians 4:16, "Am I therefore become your enemy because I tell you the truth?" Beautiful. So it says, "You do the deeds of your father." And this is why they chose Barabbas. It says, "Then said they to him, We be not born of fornication," which is what? Adultery. "We have one Father, even the Most High." Right. Because they're saying that they weren't worshiping idols. But yeah, so then why did you choose Barabbas later on? And Shalom, Yahweh Shem Shah Brakathum, to the, like I said, to the sincere, to the up and coming elder Barak Gabar, to the rest of you sincere brothers and sisters. So it says, Yahushua saith unto them, "If the Most High were your father, you would love me. For I proceeded forth and came from the Most High, neither came I of myself, but he sent me." And this is why he said, as the name of the title is, If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. Why do ye not understand my speech, even because you cannot hear my word? They couldn't spiritually perceive it, because the truth is, as it says in Corinthians, the natural man cannot receive the things of the Spirit, for they are spiritually discerned. You have to understand that it's not just the words that are being spoken, because everybody can hear what you're saying. Excuse me. But not everyone can perceive and understand what you're saying. You know, and that's where the point comes in. And this is why he goes on to say, ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father you will do. And this is why they chose Barabbas, son of the father. He was the Messiah type. That's the Messiah that they chose. And in some translations, it calls Barabbas by the name of so-called Jesus, or Yahushai, which Yahushai means what? He deliverer, or he savior. So he, Barabbas, is the one that they chose to be their savior, the son of the father. And what father is it talking about? His father, the devil. You're of your father, the devil, and the lust of your father you will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. All right? And because I tell you the truth, you believe me not. Which of you convinces me of sin? And if I say the truth, why do you not believe me? He that is of the Most High heareth the Most High's words. You therefore hear them not, because you are not of the Most High. And this is why they chose, Barabbas. A murderer, one that committed sedition, and a robber. He used to roll with gangs, robbing people, killing people, trying to take the Roman Empire down, which is something that, the Apostle Paul said don't do. Yahushua didn't tell his disciples to do it. He said to Pilate, he said, if my kingdom were of this world, then would my servants fight, that I should not be delivered unto you. So we have to give place to the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All right, so let's see. That was pretty much the lesson of another come in his name. But let's see. Now let's go back to Luke 23, because there's still more. Pilate, therefore, willing to release Yahushai, spake again to them. Yeah, because Pilate didn't want to have nothing to do with the death of Yahushai. You have to remember, his wife had the dream. She told him. He actually examined Yahushai and came to the conclusion that this man is not guilty. I don't understand why these people want to kill him. Oh. Let's go back to Matthew 27. Right, so we read that, whom will you have that I release unto you, Barabbas or Yahushai, which is called the Messiah, which we read in this, that is a couple of translations that say Jesus Barabbas. This is the point here. For he knew, who? Pontus, that for envy they had delivered him, because Yahushua had a great influence on the people, and the wicked Pharisees and them were afraid that if they left him alive, the people were going to follow him and forsake them. See, because they were not spiritual. Here they're in these lofty positions, they know the law backwards and forwards, but they were not spiritual. You have men out there that are they have very good memories. They have a keen, a knack to memorize stuff, to learn stuff, to just retain information. But then when it comes to the spiritual things, they don't have that. They don't have that ingredient. Because most people that have a good memory like that and are pretty, intelligent, they think that they can get by just by their intelligence, by their words. It don't work like that. It's about being spiritual. This is why Yahushua kept saying, he that hath ears to hear, let him hear. It ain't talking about physical ears, because everybody has physical ears. Everybody heard what Yahushua was saying, but nobody perceived it except for the ones that were part of the elect. That's why when Yahushua was speaking and that voice came, some said that a voice spake, an angel spake, and others said that it thundered. So some understood it and some didn't. They just heard a noise. The same thing with the Apostle Paul. The Apostle Paul heard the voice, but the people that were with him heard thunderings. Because it's not open to everybody. So it says, when he was set down on the judgment seat, his wife said unto him, saying, check this out. Oh, have thou nothing to do with that just man, for I have suffered many things this day in a dream because of him. I didn't even know this was here in this particular one, but let's go back. But they cried, saying, crucify him, crucify him. So Pontius was trying to let him go, but they weren't having it. And he said unto them the third time, why, what evil hath he done? I have found no cause of death in him. I will therefore chastise him and let him go. He did this thing 3 times. And after that, what did he do? It said he washed his hands. His blood be upon you. And that's when they said his blood is going to be on them and their children. But it's still going to be on Pontius Pilate because he still beat him. You see? And they were instant with loud voices. Yeah, they were losing it. Oh my goodness, no, what do you mean? No, you gonna let him go? You know, you can imagine all them Jakes back then screaming at Pontius Pilate, talking about, no, you better crucify him, or you ain't Caesar's friend. You know, there was an uproar. I mean, they were. Here it is. The man didn't do anything to them, and they wanted to take him out. You're going to have to get on up out of here, man. Ain't nobody trying to complete no one case up. You're going to have to get up on out of here. This is the wrong platform you're looking for. You done stepped on Mr. Gilmore's property. Inside joke. Yep. As an elder Barack Obama said, a bunch of Uncle Ruckus. That's right. It says, requiring that he might be crucified, and the voices of them and of the chief priests prevailed. See? Why? Because Pontius like, oh boy. You know, he just wanted them to shut the hell up. And Pilate gave sentence that it should be as they require, right? So he's still going to be judged for that. And he released unto them him that for sedition and murder was cast into prison, whom they had desired, but he delivered Yahushua to their will. Yep. So it says, and as they led him away, they laid hold upon one Simon, a Cyrenian, coming out of their country, and on him they laid the cross. It says that he might bear it after Yahushua. So this Cyrenian, which I was going to kind of go into a little bit of this, but this Cyrenian, which Simon, this was in northern Africa, and you had a community of Israelites also in northern Africa. You had a big community of Israelites in Alexandria, Egypt, and a big community of Israelites in Cyrene. It's Kureneos, a native of Cyrene. Doesn't really tell you too much about Cyrene. Let's go here. Boom, 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 boom. Cyrene was an ancient Greek and later Roman city near present-day Shahat, Libya. See? It was the oldest and most important of the 5 Greek cities. So here you got a map that shows you where it was right up here, northern Africa, up in Libya. Then you go further down southeastward, and then you had Egypt, where you had the Alexandrians, which they were in the land called Alexandria that was named after Alexander the Creep, or the Greek, or the Great. All right, and when you go to Acts the 2nd chapter, those were some of the Greek, the Jews, the Greek-speaking Jews that were there. All right, Yep, Libya today. Yep, that's right, brother. Yep, like the elder said, we was put there during the time of the Greeks. Yep. You have a lot of history on all of these different places, like Alexandria. You had also the Libertines. When you read about in Acts the 6th chapter, it also goes into the Libertines. All right, so it says, and there followed him a great company of people and of women, which also bewailed and lamented him. But Yahushua turning unto them said, daughters of Jerusalem, weep not for me, but weep for yourselves and for your children. For behold, the days are coming, in the which they shall say, blessed are the barren, and the womb that never bare, and the paps which never gave suck. Right, because there was going to be a great persecution coming about 30 plus years in the future, which was 70 AD. And a little before that. Then shall they begin to say to the mountain, fall on us, and to the hills, cover us. Right. In other words, hide us from this great onslaught. For if they do these things in the green tree, Yahushua being the green tree, meaning sinless, what shall be done in the dry? Right. That's dealing with the ones that are not sinless. Because they crucifying the Lord at this point. What are they going to do during 70 AD? They wiped that whole place out. That's why he wept. Because he saw that this great destruction coming in a not too distant future. And there were also 2 other malefactors led with him to be put to death. And when they were come to the place which is called Calvary, which is the skull, there they crucified him, and the malefactors, one on the right hand and the other on the left. Then said Yahushua, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And they parted his raiments and cast lots. Now, remember, this is prior to him. This is him being crucified. Just before he passed, he said these words, Father, forgive them. And there was another, for they know not what they do, which that goes hand in hand with Romans 11. Just bear with me 1 second. All right, so it's not gonna come up like that. Right here. St. John 1 and 29. The next day, John seeth Yahushua coming unto him, and saith, Behold, the Lamb of the Most High, which taketh away the sin of the world. Then what? The sin of the world of the nation of Israel. All right. So going back, Romans 11:26. And so all Israel shall be saved, because all of Israel is going to be saved. Why? Because the promise was made to Abraham and to his seed. And all those of the promise of the seed are going to be delivered. It says, and so all Israel shall be saved, as it is written, there shall come out of Zion the deliverer, which is who? Yahushua. And we're reading about him right now. And shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob. So although they're going to receive destruction and judgment for giving him up and crucifying him, when the kingdom is established, they'll come back through the elect, and they'll still receive forgiveness. Elder Apostle Gabar said, I just want to say this. When all hell breaks loose, all these Israelite groups who scoff GMS will act and say that they have always been teaching the same things they scoffed us for. Mark our words. That's right. That's right. And we've been saying it. And now it's coming to pass. Now that all hell is breaking loose, we're the ones that's saying that ain't nothing going to happen. We're the ones that saying ain't no Jacob's trouble. We're the ones that's going to, they're going to say, we the ones that said that that denied that the MOTB is a C hit. Watch the spin-off. Watch the spin-off. Hey, remember, it was great deception. Matter of fact, I was reading the summary, which our elder Yashuamba had brought out a while back. On Jude, I was reading another summary on Jude, and pretty much it was a great time of what's the word I'm looking for? deception, of coming against the truth. It says, and the people stood beholding, and the rulers also with them derided him, saying, he saved others, let him save himself. If he be the anointed, the chosen of the Most High. And the soldiers also mocked him, coming to him and offering him vinegar, and saying, if thou be the king of the Jews, save thyself. So you have to remember these things that Yahushua is going through. We're going to go through some of these similar things. And a superscription also was written over him in letters of Greek and Latin and Hebrew. This is the King of the Jews. Now, why was it written in Greek and Latin and Hebrew? Because this is around the time of the Passover, and you had Israelites coming from all different countries coming to Jerusalem to keep the Passover. And they all didn't speak Hebrew. They spoke different languages. That's why, boom, it was written in Greek and Latin and Hebrew. And this title read what? Many of the Jews. When we go to St. John 19, let's go here real quick. St. John 19 and 19. It says, and Pilate wrote a title and put it on the cross, and the writing was Yahushua of Nazareth, the King of the Jews. This title then read many of the Jews, the Israelites. For the place was where Yahushua was crucified was nigh to the city, and it was written in Hebrew and Greek and Latin. So you had a lot of Israelites there. The elder Apostle Gabar also said, that's right, brother, the most wicked is a nigger who calls himself an Israelite. Oh yeah, most definitely. That's why Yahushua cursed them wicked Pharisees and Sadducees out, calling them a bunch of vipers. A den of vipers. The Lord even said that, thorns and briars are going to be among you. The worst of the worst is a nigger that knows he's an Israelite, as the apostle said. And they bring wickedness to another level. And one of the malefactors which were hanged railed on him, saying, if thou be the anointed, save thyself and us. But the other answering rebuked him, saying, Dost not thou fear the Most High, seeing thou art in the same condemnation? And we indeed justly, for we received the due reward of our deeds, but this man hath done nothing amiss. And he said unto Yahushua, Lord, remember me when thou comest into thy kingdom. And you could read the rest. It's pretty much straightforward. And like I said, these are good to read, especially in these times, because we're in the point now where the hour of our temptation is coming. This is Yahushua's temptation, and the hour of our temptation is coming. And this is good to read because it gives you ideas, and an insight as to what's coming concerning this great persecution. So it would behoove you, to acquaint yourself with these things, as we've been saying. But now they're saying, well, GMS, but you guys are making your members weak. You're saying that they're just going to waltz right into the kingdom. There's not going to be any hard time. It's like scratching my head like, man, these guys they're either that much of an idiot, or they're just that deceptive and that desperate, to now try to flip the narrative around to make it seem like we were the ones that were saying what they were saying. You know what I mean? Jelly bean? Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. I'll read a couple of these precepts and then close it out. Elder Apostle Gabar put Jeremiah 5:26, for among my people are found wicked men. They lay wait as he that setteth snares. They set a trap, they catch men. Yep, that's right. Let's see. Psalms 46:1. The Most High is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble the water. Yeah, and hey, sister, we know we don't really allow sisters to really post precepts. I don't know if you knew that or not, but just for future, but that's a good precept though. And shalom to you sincere sisters. Oh, this is good. Revelation 19:7, let us be glad and rejoice and give honor to him, for the marriage of the Lamb is come, and his wife hath made herself ready. Right, that's why all the deckings are going on right now. The washing, the bathing, the different accessories, desperation and deception. That's right. Everything is being arrayed properly. When a bride, is getting ready to get married, they go all out. So that's what we're supposed to be doing. We're Yahweh bride, and we're going all out. We're being adorned and decked, because we want to make the cut. God damn it, shit. Hey, so Lord's will, you brothers and few sisters have found this lesson to be edifying. Till the next time I say, Shalom.